me. I love you.
Mimi najua wewe utamtetea, lakini ushajaribu kufikiria majukumu alionayo kwake?
Dinko, you're not serious.
Mzee ni babu yako, mimi ni bosi wako.
Hawataki kukupatia kazi ama ni kazi hakuna?
Unasumbuliwa na nini? Au na nani?
Uliniambia nikihitaji msaada wako unaweza kunisaidia anytime, yeah?
In your dreams, wakili, and over my dead body. Wewe huaminiki kabisa.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
You haven't heard the worst about what happened.
I saw him run away. He was right there. He could have helped my grandpa, but he didn't do anything. He just ran.
You had one enemy, and a really big one.
Who?
Demian Ferrer. I want you to swear to me that our relationship isn't over.
Tusirudi nyuma kwa mipaka na nchi kufungwa. Tusirudi kwa biashara na shule kufungwa. Kwa kutoweza kukutana. Kwa kutengana na tuwapendao. Tusirudi nyuma.
Na kuhitaji unikinge, pata chanjo.
Ili tuendelee na maisha vizuri.
Na kuhitaji unikinge, pata chanjo.
Na kuhitaji unikinge,
pata chanjo.
Na kuhitaji unikinge,
pata chanjo.
Na kuhitaji unikinge, pata chanjo.
Ili tuendeleze maisha bora kwa ajili ya wapendao, nchi yetu na usoni wetu. Kwa ajili yetu sisi sote. Pata chanjo. Kaa chonjo. Kuhakikisha nchi yetu na uchumi wetu umestawi katika uwazi. Tusirudi nyuma.
And welcome to KBC Lunchtime News. And since this is the first time that we are doing this together, let me wish you a happy and prosperous 2022. My name is Njue, and my colleague on the bottom right of your screen is Lensa Odingo, who will be handling the sign language interpretation. Time for the news now. Kilifi County Commissioner Kutswa Olaka has called on members of the public to avail themselves for the COVID-19 jab that has been made available even to remote health institutions. Olaka took issue with the elderly citizen in the county for declining to take the jab, even as the Ministry of Health insists that the elderly are at the more risk of contracting COVID-19. Only 40,000 elderly persons have received the first and second vaccination in Kilifi County, out of a total of 700,000 elderly persons aged 55 and above.
According to the Minister of Health, Kilifi County is among the bottom 10 counties that have fully vaccinated their citizens. Only 45,092 persons are fully vaccinated in the county as of the 5th of January 2022, the number representing 5.7% of the entire population. Kilifi County Commissioner Kutswa Olaka now says that a door-to-door campaign to vaccinate at least 200,000 people in the next 2 months is set to commence immediately.
Pamoja na Waziri Dado tutaongoza hiyo campaign, hata kama itakuwa ni kwenda sub-location by sub-location, tukiwa na maafisa wa national government na maafisa wa county government kuhakikisha kwamba hiyo idadi ya wale watu wamechanjwa katika county inaongezeka.
Olaka spoke when he received his COVID-19 booster jab at his office.
Ni kutoa mwito kwa wakaaji wote wa Kilifi, haswa wale ambao ni wazee, wajitokeze ili wapate hii chanjo ya kwanza na ya pili, kwa sababu bado tunaona visa vya watu kuambukizwa ugonjwa wa uviko 19. Wengine bahati mbaya wanaaga, wengine wanalazwa.
Elsewhere, the uptake of COVID-19 vaccine in Mwingi is on the rise since the first case of the Omicron variant was reported in Kenya. According to the lead nurse in charge of public health and vaccination in Mwingi Central Sub-County, Geoffrey Muthui, there has been a surge in the number of people who are thronging Mwingi Level 4 hospital to get vaccinated in the last 2 months.
We have AstraZeneca, and also we have Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. So we have 3 types of vaccines which are being administered in Mwingi Central Sub-County.
The positive trend in COVID jab uptake in the area follows the recent directive by the Minister of Health that those who are not yet vaccinated might be denied access to government services.
The true information is that the vaccine is safe. The vaccine is safe.
Purity Museo, Lunchtime News.
And now to the corridors of justice, where businesswoman Mary Wambui Mungai has denied 2 counts of being in possession of a firearm without a valid license. The accused, who appeared before Nairobi Chief Magistrate Wendy Mushemi, was ordered to place a cash bail of 50,000 shillings or a bond of 100,000 shillings with 2 sureties. Wambui was represented by LSK President Nelson Havi and Senator Kipchumba Murkomen. The court directed the case be mentioned on 25th of January. Together with her daughter, they have a pending anti-corruption case where they are accused of evading tax amounting to 2.0 shillings.
Filed against Mary Wambui Mungai are misdemeanors. The mandatory penalty in the event of conviction is a fine of 500 shillings per day for the days that there are allegations relating to possession of the firearm.
Giving a bond of 100,000 with 1 surety of similar amount, or a cash bill of 50,000 with 1 contact person. You can have a date of return in the next week to ensure that all the documents you receive everything you need.
Now, moving on, residents of Kurawa, Garsen constituency, Tana River County claim they are being discriminated in the issuance of national identification cards. According to the locals, lack of the vital documents has caused them much suffering as their children miss employment opportunities and devolve government affirmative action funds meant to uplift their livelihoods.
Republic of Kenya.
Speaking at a public baraza convened by Tana River County Commissioner Karisa Mwaringa, locals say they have lived in the area from time immemorial but are excluded from opportunities based on their national identity card details. Residents said many of their children have attained 18 years and above but do not have IDs and have been unable to secure jobs.
Kanipiane kitambulisho imeandikwa Republic of Kenya na naamini hata yako iko hivi. Lakini nikipeana hatuandikwi hata kanjo au askari wa county. hatuajiriwi hata kwa police force. Sisi si wa Kenya.
They added that lack of identity cards may push young people into criminal activities because they cannot form groups to get loans. According to the authorities, majority of those living in Kurawa usually cross over to the Kilifi County to apply for IDs in order to avoid the rigorous vetting process in Tana River.
Mimi mwenyewe watoto wangu walifanywa vetting. Kwa hivyo haya mambo pengine vile nafasi kwa chache za kazi, lakini nafikiria siku za usoni tutaangalia masuala haya kwa makini ili tuone kwamba kila mmoja anafuata haki yake.
Karisa advised the residents to apply for IDs from where they live instead of moving to Kilifi County, since they will be left out in many government opportunities.
Kama unakaa hapa afu unajiandikisha Kilifi, sasa utakaa hapo kufanya nini? Enda Kilifi. Kitambulisho inaongea Kilifi. Wewe unalipwa kazi Tana River. Tana River kuna watu wake.
Kilifi to Kisii, where former Nyaribari Masaba legislator Elijah Mosomi Moindi is counting losses after his rental houses were allegedly demolished by the county government of Kisii. Moindi claims he has genuine documents as proof that he legally owned the parcel of land and the buildings on it, contrary to allegations that he illegally acquired it.
An errant Moindi condemned the demolition of his rental housing units under construction in Kisii town and damage to property of his tenants at night, allegedly by the county government.
The county government has been fighting me, saying I grabbed the land. I don't know from whom I grabbed. This is the third round. Today, I woke up in the morning to come here to find that the facilities around have been demolished.
The former lawmaker accused the county government of continuously harassing him and at one time prompting the Commission of Lands to travel to the ground and vindicate him.
I want all Kenyans to know this is my land. It is not a public land, it is a private land. You have seen from the documents.
Dennis, officer with the Transline Classic Bus Company and who is a tenant, accused the county government officers of pulling down their offices without issuing a notice.
Hawakutueleza wanakuja kubomoa. Walikuja tu na kuanza. Tukaanza kukimbishana. Tukashindwa ni nini inaendelea. Juu hatukuwa na habari. Kama wangeeleza mapema, hata mwenyewe angekuja atueleza asema hapana. Hapa kuna maneno yametokea.
Watu wa tauni hii onea wananchi huruma. Alafu watengeneze hii alafu saidie wananchi Kenya mzima. Tafadhali waachana mheshimiwa.
The county government had at one point wanted to build a road on part of the land but was stopped through a court order.
Elsewhere, China Media Group President Zheng Haijiong said 2021 was particularly remarkable for the Communist Party, of China and the country. Shen said China Media Group has served as a witness to the remarkable past and recorded the country's achievements through its dedicated work, promising that China's overseas broadcasting services will continue in the same pace in 2022.
In the New Year message to a global audience, China Media Group President Shen Haijiong said presenting China's stories well to global audiences remains CMG's mission. CMG's programs such as China and the Stories, China and the Classics, and Chinese Culture and Toponymy documented the country's deep and solid history and people's vitality in their everyday lives. The CMG president said reporting based on facts should be the fundamental principle of global journalists. Shen said the group has established a diverse and inclusive cooperation mechanism with international media partners. The CMG president made reference to China's success stories like the scheduled hosting of the 2022 Winter Olympic Games and Paralympic Games, the world's biggest sporting event of 2022. The Beijing Winter Olympics will bring together athletes from around the world to compete on ice and snow in February. Shen said China Media Group is ready to bring the event to global audiences with technologies and its newly launched Olympic channel.
Closer home, a section of farmers bordering the Tsavo National Park in Taita Taveta County has shifted to poultry farming as a remedy to the perennial human-wildlife conflict that has now rendered crop farming unbearable in parts of the county. The farmers say despite lodging complaints to Kenya Wildlife Services with an aim of seeking compensation, nothing was forthcoming.
Farmers in Taita Taveta County have ventured into poultry farming as an alternative income-generating venture following rampant agricultural losses brought about by human-wildlife conflict.
Ndovu wanatuharibia sana mimea yetu, na wanapotuharibia mimea yetu kila wakati tunapoenda wanatuharibia, na hata tunapoita watu wa KWS hawatusaidii.
The farmers say through the project initiated by the county government in partnership with the Kenya Climate Smart Agriculture Project, they're no longer facing the challenges and losses that came along with crop farming.
Lazima kila mmoja atainuka, na kama tuko na vile tuko na watoto wa shule, najua kwamba mradi utasaidia hata kupeleka watoto shule, kupeleka watoto ma college.
Kilinganisha kulima ng'ombe wa maziwa kwa mfano, zile pembenjeo na ile effort ambayo unastahili kuweka ndani ya hiyo shughuli, unaona kwamba ni bora zaidi kufanya kilimo cha kuku ambayo wakati mwingi hauna input nyingi na sio gharama kubwa kuweza kuendeleza ile kilimo.
Taita Taveta County Director for Veterinary Services Dr. Jeremiah Ngugi called on the farmers to register with cooperatives to boost the market sourcing for their products.
Kama unategemea kitu kama kilimo cha kuku, ni mradi ambao huhitaji pembejeo kutoka nje, na kwa hivyo you are able to sustain your enterprise kwa urahisi.
The farmers will also benefit from a follow-up on the project after 6 months, where the county government will be looking to address various challenges that may have been faced during the business. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
And now to some good news to you, the viewer. The film industry is evolving rather fast, with local producers and actors finding their products on the silver screen. And in the spirit of keeping tabs with this wave of change, KBC launches a weekly news feature, cinemas and theatre that will review the creative works of local producers of film and drama. This was the premiere episode. Take a look.
I want you to step out of the shadow and stand under the light of truth. Damn it!
Shot 3. Stand by. And action.
Nafsi is about a middle-class woman, Aisha, who is unable to conceive following a traumatic childhood experience.
What if it's God's will for me not to have a child?
This has got nothing to do with your ability to conceive.
Her best friend, Shiko, offers to be the surrogate mother, if only to save her marriage.
I want to fight your pain is my pain, and your life my life.
This leads to events that thickens the plot further.
Hey, wait!
The production of this film, it keeps taking a turn of its own that is bigger than me. It's literally like a child, you know. Once the child starts growing, you make peace that you no longer have control of how that conversation will go. Aisha is played by Mumbi Maina. So we had like 3 people who were proposed for that main role, and you know, some of them kept on dropping because several reasons. And my style is I give you the script to read first, and then I see if you're getting a vibe about the script, and then you talk about it. And when we gave it to Mumbi Maina, she got it, and we had very long discussions about the script. But we later on brought her in for a screen test to see if she can merge with the rest of the people. So Mumbi is a phenomenal actress, but more importantly is that she bought into the vision of the film. If you watch the film, you'll see that she delivered 150%.
The character Shiko is by Catherine Kamau.
For her, it was more like a first time because she's known for a lot of comedy, And this was like a more serious role for her. And she delivered. She came through for audition. I thought she has potential. People were doubting. She struggled the first few days. Then she got it.
The film, written and directed by Ruben Odanga, addresses the controversial concept of surrogacy vis-a-vis African cultural understanding of motherhood.
The film is literally a mirror of our society. And the story of Nafsi is a story about friendship, love. More importantly, we are targeting issues of surrogacy and issues of friendship and betrayal. So I'm just talking about issues that are happening. It's just that society, culture, religion, and how we've been brought up, how we've been classified, has made us to sort of like try and ignore what is on. Tell people, when are you having a baby? When are you having a child? And it looks like it's a kawaida thing, but people are struggling with very, very sensitive issues.
It depicts the fierce loyalty of childhood friendship and the eventual betrayal and heartbreaks that comes when Aisha changes her mind and no longer wants Shiko to carry the pregnancy to full term.
And you need to report that to the police.
Why didn't you tell me about this?
With movies such as Nafsi, it is clear local producers are upping their game to exploit the undoubtedly unexploited film industry.
There's always been hope. We just need to do it. We've just been, this is what has been happening. We've always been waiting for someone to come and save us. And yet the only people who can save us is ourselves. Okay, what we have done with Nafsi is we've just jumped. You know, we just jumped to say, look, we'll try if the parachute opens or not. And it's happening. It's happening right before our eyes.
Wow. Let's, as Odanga has said, let's support a local talent. And also, that's a reason to keep it KBC this new year 2022. We are due for our first break. Let's have that breather, but we still have more news when we come back, not forgetting sports.
Chafuka, yes, but at the end of the day unashika pesa safi inakusaidia. So naambia wao yuto huko watafute kazi yoyote, si lazima ati wakatupa mtaa wafanya crimes.
I hope by the time I'm coming back, you should have composed yourself with something meaningful to talk to me about.
You don't love me. I know the case inside out. Forget it. I'm still in charge.
I see the type of the poison that your father is banking in your sweet brain.
Wow. So I don't have a brain. For the 10th time I said I understand.
Why would you be telling me this?
Because I don't care about this case anymore.
You're given a chance and you messed it up, so I'm in charge now.
Jen, you have a lot of issues today.
Usijali.
No, we cannot speak on phone.
My friend. Hello?
Kwa serikali itakuwa imekwenda ahead kutoa document ya pili after mine, is it my problem?
Sasa uelewe kitu gani?
Usijali, wewe tuliza Munkari. Wasikia?
Na kama ilimtia tumbo joto, itabidi kesho mimi mvuke nende huko mjini nikakutane naye gavana.
Kuna appointment na?
Sina haja na appointment. Nimekwambia mimi ni msiko unijue wewe.
You shouldn't be here. Get up. Go. Go!
You thought you could depend on Njue and his powerful father, only to find things have changed in such a short time.
Board will be voting for a new president tomorrow. I really need your support here, all right?
Not letting anyone push me around. I'm not making myself clear. Don't you dare try and stop me.
You cannot pick a new president if there's a draw. It seems that today all of you voted for nothing. Ah.
有一段故事建筑一座城堡，回忆放进去后就不再打扰，世界很大。
Welcome back and thanks for keeping it KBC Lunchtime News. Moving on, the government has ordered cessation of any activities in the controversial Mukuru kwa Njenga land to tame growing tension in the area. Speaking after meeting elders from the controversial land, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. said his ministry is currently in talks with the landowners and other relevant bodies, including Nairobi Metropolitan Services, so as to get a lasting solution to the issue. The government says an audit will be done within 1 month's time to ensure there is proper documentation of the title deeds issued to the locals in the area.
This is not the first time we are doing that. This is how we sorted out Waitiki in Mombasa. This is how we have sorted out challenges in other parts of the country, where we find their landowners on whose land the members of the public have occupied. So we work with them so that we protect their property rights on the one hand, while on the other also we look at the livelihoods and the settlement of our people, because it's our Nainji. These are our people. These are the ones who pay us. We are their employees. So we must also look at their interests and their welfare. So we will strike that balance together. And there's a method that we will propose to Orbit Chemicals and the others, and we will find a solution to this. We are confident that we are going to find a solution to this, and this will be a story to be told in future, but a good story. We are going to resolve this matter completely. So we have started a plan that we have announced today of return to normalcy in Mukuru kwa Njenga. We will next meet the group of the leaders of those who are in the tents.
So as government, we have taken the decision that we are going to work with the community in order to regularize their settlements. We are also going to work hand in hand with the landowner, because as you know, the title to that land is in private hands, but there are people living on the land. So we are going to work with these two groups, ourselves, Ministry of Lands, the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, and the entire security team, as well as the NMS. That's why DG is here. So that in a short time, we hope that in a month or so, we should have finished the process of documenting the people who live there, documenting their parcels of land.
Elsewhere, traders in Migori County are calling on the county government to consider connecting them to clean water to the market to prevent any outbreak of waterborne diseases. The traders say water scarcity in the area has been made worse by the ongoing drought in the country, forcing them to depend on River Migori that is already polluted.
Millicent Odera, the chairlady of the fishmongers at the Migori Marindi Market, said they have no access to clean water, thus at high risk of contracting waterborne diseases.
Kuna shida sana sana maji. Hatuna maji ya kuosha samaki. Tunatumia tu maji ya Migori, na hiyo maji ni mbaya sana sahi.
Odira added that the water shortage has come with the burden of sanitation, as they have to wade through a heap of solid wastes to access the muddy waters.
Hatuna maji masafi.
Maji tunayotumia ni maji yanayotoka katika mto Migori, na kwa sasa hivi yamepungua sana na yana uchafu mwingi kwa sababu takataka zote ambazo zinatoka kwa soko zinamwagwa hapo kwa mto. Kwa sababu hatuna choo pia, watu wanaenda haja ndogo, haja kubwa hapo karibu na maji. Kwa hivyo tunahofia kupatwa na ugonjwa wa kipindupindu, hata maradhi mengine tofauti yanayoletwa na shida ya maji.
Want communities adjacent to the river to stop discharging human waste into the river Migori.
Sasa tunaomba serikali, hapa ni chafu, watu pia anaenda haja kubwa, haja ndogo. Sasa ni chafu, vitu pia uchafu pia wanamwaga tu hapo. Sasa tunaomba serikali wakikubali wakuje waone hapa watengeneze.
Chairperson of the Water Committee in the County Assembly of Migori, Hebron Mahira, attributed the acute water shortage and poor sanitation to the laxity in the party of the county's management. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Wamboi Otiende.
Let's now focus on politics, where a group of youth in Kisumu County have launched an online platform seeking to marshal all young people and opinion shapers across the country to champion the youth cause. The young leaders noted that youth in the country have for a long time been pushed aside in the political and economic frames, and there was need to join forces to increase the stakes of young people, especially in the political realm. The online platform, christened Kiongozi, will allow potential youth and women leaders to upload profiles, manifestos, events, find and share resources in order to build winning strategies and campaigns towards successful elections.
Platform is an emerging leaders springboard towards opportunities that come with elective politics, that comes with grassroots leadership. So this is the one of a kind platform, the first in our country today, that is beginning to solve the ills and the bottlenecks that deter young people from accessing leadership.
The target is to have 20 young people get into the county assembly, and an extra young people in women representative seats and the Senate seat.
The media age of 19.7 years. Surprisingly, this endowment is not reflected in our country leadership.
We are inviting innovators and different business partners to come on board and to help us, because we are creating an agenda for the youth, with the youth and by the young people.
And still on matters youth, the Youth Congress for Change has unveiled a series of undertakings ahead of the August polls that include mobilizing citizens to register as voters, as well as civic and voter education, among others. Speaking to the press at a Nairobi hotel, Raphael Obonyo, the convener for Youth for Change, urged the youth to make informed choices and not to be duped by selfish leaders. The group at the same time urged the youth to choose leaders that will help steer the country forward.
But when we all vote, we get new ideas, new energy, we get leads with our values and listen to our voices. That is how we change Kenya. That is how we make this country better. And also ensure what we are all looking forward to, a peaceful, fair, free and verifiable elections. And also to guard against interference with the right to vote, which is a very sacred right, and that we must ensure that every vote counts. And so it is citizens to remain engaged to ensure that their vote will count. And lastly, will be to support and mobilize for action, especially with grassroots, community-based and civil society organization. We all know that since 2002, when the NAC government came into power, the vibrancy of civil society has really gone down. And for our democracy to work, we really need a vibrant civil society. And so it is the role that Youth Congress finds very important to engage and to support grassroots organizations, community-based organizations, and civil society organizations to hold political leaders accountable and to make politicians and governments more responsive and more effective. Are we going to colleges? Are we going to high school to reach out to young people who have already registered? Are we using, I saw there's a group called the VP Youth that has even come up with virtual reality as a way of encouraging young people to vote, because if they see it, it's exciting, and that way they're going to say, this resonates with that.
Let's now do business. We start in Kisumu, where farmers in Kisumu County have been urged to take advantage of the conducive weather conditions in the area to increase their acreage under chili. Soki Shing, a farmer, says there is need for farmers to adopt practices that will see the produce meeting international standards, especially for those eyeing the export market.
The preparation of these red chilies is on at this 4-acre farm in Kisumu County. This will be part of the first export batch from this farm that will be on Saturday from the Kisumu International Airport. Shing, the owner and manager of the farm, says the area is very conducive for chili farming. The red soil, he says, supports the crop.
There is a lot of potential here because of the fertile soil. It's red soil. It doesn't retain water because this green chili doesn't need a lot of water.
He is calling on area residents to increase the acreage under chilies. He has, however, cautioned that there is need to maintain high standards during production for the crop to access the lucrative international market.
One should plan in such a way that they should have a buyer, they should have the export license, all the documents by KEFIS are approved, complied with, like the shed net is their requirement and many more. So yeah, that's how one should shortcut. Obviously one will lose money, so you follow the book.
Soki has also offered to train farmers on best farming practices and offer connections to markets abroad.
We have the context for the buyers. We can give them an idea of outgrowing and we buy from them. And because obviously they don't have buyers, they cannot fly there, so they can go through us and make this place 100% and booming in potential.
He says chili farming can be instrumental in uplifting the living standards of farmers in the country. Betty Kiptum, Lunchtime News.
Yes, indeed, it's January and we have to tighten our economic belts, but listen to this. Kenyans will have to dig deeper in their pockets to afford a meal in the next few days. According to the National Drought Management Authority 2021 report, poor short rains means maize production could be lower by 70%, while the area under food crops is estimated to be 50 to 60% below normal.
The price of a 2 kilo packet of maize flour that currently retails at an average of 120 shillings might increase in coming months. This after the National Drought Management Authority says maize production could reduce by 70% this year due to poor short rains in most parts of the country. The National Drought Management Authority says as at 30th November last year, the country had a stock of 19 million 90 kg of maize, but that has since dwindled as it is estimated that Kenya could have a reserve of only 8.2 million bags by the end of March this year. This against a consumption of 3 million bags a month. The reduced production is exacerbated by threats of an invasion of fall armyworms in some counties and the maize lethal necrosis disease. The National Drought Management Authority's warning comes after farmers in the country's maize belt warned of increased maize exports to neighboring countries.
Countries is not there. Tanzania, the same, we don't get a lot of maize. So all this, in a nutshell, has contributed to a deficit, which is making the maize from Kenya, actually, to be of high demand in the neighboring countries. I understand that Southern Sudan is buying at a very good price.
On its part, NCPB says it has so far bought 10,000 90 kg bags of maize since it increased its buying price by 300 shillings to 3,000 shillings per bag last month. To afford a complete meal, Kenyans will have to spend more, as the general acreage under food crops is estimated to be 50 to 65% below normal, as crops wilt due to poor rains. The below average rain also saw 15 worst affected counties lose a total of over 1.4 million animals, with northeastern counties accounting for almost half of the livestock losses. The report by the National Drought Management Authority says the number of people in need of food aid rose to 2.8 million in December 2021 from 2.1 million in August due to poor rains. Benson Njue reporting for Lunchtime News.
Away from that, across border, South Africa's Telkom is seeking an urgent court order to prevent the country's telecoms regulator from holding a spectrum auction in March, which would further delay the country's rollout of 5G and expansion of 4G capacity already held back by legal action. Operators have waited more than 15 years for the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa to release spectrum licenses that are needed to lower data costs and add network capacity. Here are the details of this and other stories making headlines in Africa.
A previous court ruling following separate objections from telecom broadcaster MTN Group prevented last year an auction of high-demand spectrum. Telkom now says it has filed an application asking the Gauteng High Court to review and set aside the invitation to apply, which outlines the auction rules, spectrum bans and license obligations published by the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa last month. Demand for data as surged and smartphone adoption continues to grow in South Africa. Meanwhile, an outbreak of fall armyworms has broken out in Zambia and now threatens the country's agricultural produce. Ruben Firi, the Minister of Agriculture, said the fall armyworms have so far been reported in the central part of the country, but added that the outbreak was likely to spread to all parts of the country because of the prevailing climatic conditions. Firi told reporters that so far about 331 hectares of land have been affected by fall armyworms. The minister, however, said the ministry has strengthened and other control measures to contain the outbreak of the migratory pests. Zambia has experienced outbreaks of fall armyworms in 7 of the last 10 agricultural seasons. Finally, Algeria's oil output will increase by 10,000 barrels per day in February to reach 982,000 barrels per day, following the decision of the 24th OPEC and non-OPEC ministerial meeting. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies decided during the video conference meeting to increase the alliance's total oil production by 400,000 barrels per day in February, in accordance with the monthly increase plan that was decided in July 2021. According to RCAB, the overall compliance rate with the production levels decided by OPEC last month reached 117%. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mtai.
Further afield, electric car sales soared last year, but the market as a whole failed to recover from the COVID pandemic. More electric cars were registered in 2021 than in the previous 5 years combined, according to the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders. Yet the industry body said much more investment is needed in charging infrastructure. Details of this and more in our Global News Roundup.
Preliminary figures from the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders show that some 1.65 million new cars were registered. That was a small increase over 2020, when the impact of first COVID-19 related lockdowns and dealer closures sent sales plummeting. But it was still the second worst figure recorded in nearly 3 decades and 28% down on its pre-pandemic level. At the beginning of the year, there was a further lockdown, while any hopes of a lasting recovery later on were dashed by a severe shortage of semiconductors. These are critical components in modern cars, being used in areas such as engine management and emission control, emergency brakings, airbags, entertainment systems, and navigation. A modern car uses between 1,500 and 3,000 semiconductors. Meanwhile, Taiwan says it will set up a $200 million fund to invest in Lithuania as it tries to fend off Chinese diplomatic and trade pressure at the Baltic state. Taipei said it aims to make its first investment later this year, and the money is guaranteed by its National Development Fund and Central Bank. It comes after Lithuania allowed Taiwan to open a de facto embassy there, a potential sign of growing ties. The announcement comes as Taiwan is sharing tips with the public on how to drink and cook with rum after it bought 20,000 bottles of Lithuania rum bound for China. Finally, the rules on testings are to be eased for people traveling to England, the government has announced, following calls from the travel industry. From 7 a.m. tomorrow, fully vaccinated travelers to England will no longer have to take a test before they travel. And from Sunday, rather than taking a PCR test on day 2 of arrival, they can take a cheaper lateral flow. The rules for self-isolating on arrival will also change. The shake-up was confirmed by Boris Johnson earlier following calls from travel firms who said the measures were not effective now that Omicron was spreading widely. Reporting for Lunchtime, I am Teresa Mutai.
Now, back home, more than 7 people are alleged to have been shot dead in Mweronkoro village of Meru County. The 7 are claimed to have been killed by people believed to have crossed over from a neighboring county. Security officers are currently combing the area, pursuing the attackers, with claims that the death toll could be higher. Of course, we are keeping a keen eye on that report, and we will bring you a much comprehensive report in our subsequent bulletins. Elsewhere, fear has engulfed residents of Ngoshi village in Githunguri sub-county of Kiambu after partially burned down a local mogumo tree. According to the residents, they were awoken by the cracking sound of a burning fire, but immediately put it out. The fire had started from the top of the tree.
According to eyewitnesses, the tree that is situated in a local homestead started burning on Sunday at around 3 in the morning. On Wednesday, at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, residents who were attending a funeral in the neighborhood saw a big smoke coming from the same homestead. They rushed there in fear of a house fire, only to find the tree was once again burning. According to Ngarau Njonjo, a resident, the fire continued unabated, though no other nearby structures or vegetation caught fire.
Katika area hii, huu mti ndio uko na miaka mingi zaidi kuliko miti ile ingine iko area hii. Kwa hivyo ni mti wa zamani sana. Sababu hata kukua kwangu nilikuta huu mti, size yake ilikuwa kubwa. Na hakuna mtu amewahi kuja hapa hata kukata kuni.
Pastor Peter Mugo Gikonyo of AIPCEA Ngochi Church said it was a mystery that the tree burnt down so fast, given that the trees normally hold a lot of water.
Hatujui pahali moto ilitoka, pengine wenyewe ndio walisema juzi kulikuwa na moto usiku na hawakujua pahali ilitoka. Hiyo ni mambo ya tuseme hatujui, hatuwezi tukasema ati ni mtu alichoma. Ama tuseme ni moto ya Mungu ilitoka juu kwa sababu hakuna mtu aliiona ikichokuka.
Rosemary Nyambura, who resides within the compound, said though she knew that the tree had caught fire on Sunday night, she was not aware that it had started burning again despite being in the house all day.
Wakati wa mchana tuliona moto imewaka juu ya mti na sisi hatuku establish ni nini ilifanyika.
Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Lunchtime News.
Let's shift focus to sports now, and Chelsea deservedly beat Tottenham 2-0 in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final last night, but had so many chances they should have already sealed their place at Wembley. Kai Havertz gave Chelsea an early lead when he ran into Marcos Alonso's through ball and fired home with Davinson Sanchez unable to keep the